community. Welcome again to another Ask an Expert. I am here with Hunter from Page One Digital, an approved partner of Aloha that has gone through all of the Aloha training and is pretty ninja-like with all of our solutions, but also has some great insights for you today. So stick around to the end because he's going to give you 2 tips that he shares with some of his most favorite customers, all of them. But you'll want to stick to the end to watch this on-demand training with Ask an Expert with Aloha. So Hunter, thank you so much for joining us today. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do, and then we'll drop into some of the things we want to cover today.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. My name is Hunter. I'm our Director of Marketing here at Page One Digital. We have 11 years experience focusing in the health sector, specializing in digital marketing for chiropractors and those that are looking to gain new patients and using tools like Aloha to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know that we see each other a lot at conferences. You're a well-known booth over at Parker and all those other shows. So great to have you with us today. Hunter, tell us, what do you think is the most important thing that a few things that practices need to focus on with specifically their digital footprint, right? They have their brick and mortar practice. They probably have hung a sign and made the outside look beautiful and furnished it. But when it comes to that digital footprint, right, where people find them outside of just walking by their practice, what are those really important things for them to focus on? Because specifically now, there's so much noise when it comes to everything that you could be doing as a local business, trying to drive those new patients and keeping those existing patients from the shiny object down the street. So really, let's hone in on what are right now in almost 2026, the most important things that a practice should focus on with that digital footprint.
That's a great question. So yeah, there's 2 main things I think that are important for practices to focus on. The first one, I know everybody out there is hearing it and feeling it, the noise from AI and what the digital revolution means to all businesses, big, small, health, non-health related. It's impossible to ignore. So the good news is that what you can do as a practitioner is know your role. And what I mean by know your role is, you didn't go to school to post on Instagram or to build websites. You went to school to help people and to serve their needs. So knowing your role there allows you to outsource what's needed in the digital world. And what's important there is going to be, number one, a steady, consistent, and professional drumbeat across all your platforms. So this could be social media. This could be SEO in the form of blogs, recurring SEO month over month. I'll talk a little bit about those in a second. And then advertising, of course. The reason those 3 come to mind and why I think they're so important, number one, referrals are amazing and they can drive traffic to practices, but in time, those referral networks will eventually dwindle. And as a practitioner, you have, I believe, a moral obligation to promote what you do and help your community. And that's what you set out to do. And by deploying digital efforts consistently over time, allows you to really stand out in the marketplace. So as Jen mentioned, there might be a shiny new office down the street, somebody that has more services for less expensive, but there's something about you that is unique. And that steady drumbeat, think about all the noise you feel when you open your phone, you go on social media, browsing online. That steady drumbeat allows you to stay in front of people more consistently, and then you remain top of mind. So when it comes to social media, there's a lot of different approaches out there, but we feel best practice would be to be posting once to twice a day, 6 days a week. And that's really good for community outreach and engagement. When it comes to SEO, these are recurring blogs weekly, not necessarily to gain readership from your current patients, but educating them and then driving new quality leads to your practice, helping you rank on search engines and, of course, on AI, your ChatGPT or your Gemini. The foundations of SEO have not changed, and therefore what worked before can still work now if done professionally and consistently. And then lastly, in that vein, advertising, it is a pay-to-play model, This is going to be your fastest way to generate new leads. Um, and then tailoring that over the course of 3 to 6 months can really dial in the quality of those leads. Last thing I'll say there is your website. It's kind of the foundation of everything you do. You should look at that investment, and I'd use the word investment carefully. It should be generating income for your practice. That's what good investments do. You can build a beautiful website. It should last you 3 to 5 years, um, and then track all things that are going on in your digital footprint through that website. What I mean by that is what you're deploying trackable? Are you, and we'll talk about that with conjunction Aloha in a second. Are you measuring your results? Because if you're not, how do you know that you're actually winning? How do you know that your investment is not just an expense?
I love that. And I think that's a perfect dovetail from the digital footprint to then what you kind of alluded to in all three of those really important elements of social media, advertising, and SEO is maintaining that engagement with your patients, maintaining that relationship, right? Because everything is really honing on to maintaining what you've done most, which has got some, have a new patient walked into your practice, they've done business with you and they know, like, and trust you now, right? So advertising, social media, SEO, your digital footprint, and then the next element is maintaining that relationship. So that takes us to, what do you believe are the winning elements and what you guys love and have been trained on in Aloha that kind of bridges that digital footprint, attracting, converting patients, and then maintaining, and what patients are not even really wowed by anymore, but what they're expecting in 2025, 2026.
Sure. So happy to speak to that. We at Page One Digital actually saw a review wave when they first came on the scene, and now Aloha. And we fell in love with their product. We recommend it to all of our practitioners. And the first thing I love, it's very basic. And like you said, Jen, it's something that everybody looks for now. It's kind of a no-brainer. It's highlighting reviews, not only on your website and on your social media platforms, but to do those things, you need to remind your patients to leave you those reviews. So we have worked with plenty of practices who at first did not start with Aloha, and they struggled to gain that nice steady volume, that nice trickle of reviews coming in. And over time, we've been able to push them that way and say, look, just let's use Aloha to deploy this very simple to do thing that has such a big impact. So the first place I look when engaging with any business, it could be a restaurant, an auto repair shop, definitely a health practitioner, is going to be the reviews. How's their bedside manner? What services do they offer? And using Aloha to feature those is a no-brainer. So that would be number one. And number two, the patient life cycle is met in all ways by what Aloha offers. And what I mean by that, Jen, you alluded to it, is a new patient coming in has a lot of touch points with what Aloha offers, whether it be new patient forms, how they navigate through that new patient intake on their website, to a current patient being interacted with through SMS text messaging, reminders of the appointments that are coming along, but then also, and I think all doctors like to hear reactivation, those patients that maybe have fallen off of care over the course of a couple of years, easily being able to do outreach to them, bring them back into the fold, and then remind them why what you do is so important to their health. So those two alone, I think, are worth using Aloha at all phases of a practitioner's business.
Yeah, I love that. And you alluded to a really great video that we also have on demand with Dr. Lee from Lee Chiropractic in Irvine, California. I'll link that in the description here too. But he does exactly what you're saying, Hunter. He actually looks at times of his practice where he knows things are going to get a little slow, whether that's back to school or the holiday season. And he preemptively creates a campaign for reactivations of certain types of patients. And then as a business owner, right, he has to put his business hat on, take his doctor hat off. He can say, I know that this traditionally is a slower time for my practice. I'm going to leverage Aloha's automated campaign in a way that it can pull the patients to be able to make sure that that actually isn't a low time. It could even be a high moment because I'm planning for it. So I love that you brought that up. So again, if you're watching this, I'll drop the recording of Dr. Lee and his tips and tricks on how to use that reactivation campaign. He even gives you the copy you can copy and paste and take you about 5 minutes to activate that. So thanks so much for bringing that up because again, it's super valuable. And what we're really trying to do, like you said, is maintain those touch points, right? There's so many times when a new patient books that appointment, but there's a whole lot that happens between the time that they find you and then they're standing in front of you, where then you're going to obviously wow them and get them completely bought into this lifelong care plan of keeping them at optimal health, right? But there's, hey, where do I park? And did you send me a confirmation? And did you send me a PDF to fill out and print at home? Because not a whole lot of generations left that are gonna keep that printer on the desk and ready to go with ink. So what are all those points of friction that could potentially happen when that new patient's coming in? And then how are we maintaining that communication with that patient that has been with us for a long time? And they're not gonna, get distracted by a shiny object, but we want to continue to keep referrals and keep them happy and expand across their family. So as we're wrapping up here, again, these are quick Ask an Expert on-demand videos, and we love having Hunter here from Page One Digital. Hunter, why don't you leave us with 2 tips to maximize Aloha across all of those things, SEO, social media, and advertising, that you do to help your customers really maximize the potential for their practice when it comes to not only patient engagement, but their entire digital footprint?
Sure. So the first one I would say is customize new patient form tracking. What's unique about Aloha that we found and we love is that here at page one, we can actually start to track a patient's journey, a new patient's journey. And what I mean by that is when they go to book an appointment using Aloha, we can set up a little tag on our end to see where, if the patient didn't complete the booking, where they fell off. So if I'm a stay-at-home dad and I'm, I got a sick kid, it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm probably not going to continue trying to engage with a practice if I can't book online. So I'm going to click over, I'm going to book online. If I don't find appointment times that meet my needs, I might then go look elsewhere. So what we're able to do is see where in that journey a patient might fall off and then come to our doctors and say, hey, it looks like you might have issues on the phone, say, closing, or you might be facing issues with needing more appointment availability. We're unable to do that if a practice is not using Aloha. So it's a really big reason why using that tool allows us to track patient journey better. And number two, Jen hit on it, it's new patient form automation. It's editable. A doctor could come in and include new fields, but so many of the forms are preloaded with all the questions they would need already. So it really it does make it easy, kind of plug and play. And then as you get everything set up, you can kind of go back and rejudge a couple of things to your liking. So those 2 elements are really important for us and a big reason why we've been engaging with Aloha all these years.
Awesome. I love it. Those are really helpful things. And I think they're really helpful for not only the patients to be able to engage with a practice so much more efficiently and really in a modern way, right? We live in a mobile first world and we have our phone in our hands, but also for your staff, right? We've kind of forgot during this webinar that these are also things that completely unburden the staff from just these small mundane tasks that they got to confirm, they got to call the patient back, they missed a call, all of these things that, we really want to help them as well so they can focus on more revenue generating activities with patients or just building better relationships, coming out from behind that desk and being able to greet those patients because they know that things are being handled. So I love it. Again, Hunter at Page One Digital is a partner here at Aloha, and his team has been fully trained through Aloha University to be able to help maximize of all of those things that you need to do with your digital footprint, from SEO to social media management and advertising. So Hunter, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, I will drop links and ways that you can contact Hunter and his team. Hunter, anything else you want to leave us with before we wrap?
I appreciate the time and we love helping our practitioners. So if you're looking to grow your practice, please reach out and see if you might be a great fit. We would love to talk.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Hunter.
Thanks, Jen. Have a good day.